We're back. We were just having some weirdness with Twitch, but we're here. Good to see you, Roller. Oh, let's see. Let's get this show on the road. How was your day? Mine was interesting. Couple projects that are slowly making progress. Simultaneously early, not late. What else did I get word of? I got word. I think I may have mentioned this, maybe not. Let's see. Last stream was tonight's Tuesday. Last stream was Saturday. Oh, okay, so in other news, I got word that my contract was renewed until December with the pay raise. So yay! So still limited hours. Oh, and then I had a meeting with an old client that I worked with before on his first novel, and he's apparently working on a second novel now, and wants someone to read over the manuscript. So last time it was a lot more labor intensive. We met like on a very regular basis to go through chapter by chapter. This time it's basically a finished manuscript that he just wants some feedback on. So I get to do a manuscript consultation, which means I get to read the whole thing and then write up notes and a letter to go with that summary report, basically. And yeah, so that's what I get to do in September. Full extra money, and so that's good. But I will still need to find some more clients. Either that, or I have to start running D&D games for money. 12 matches left. We're here. I think we're in the gold mine, right? Yeah, we're in the gold mine. What are we doing for food? Cattails, chips. Lots of flares. Anything needing repair? Nothing needing repair. I think we're looking pretty good, honestly. And I think we still have some water left. Yeah. But yeah, so far we've had no rabbits in here. I think our little report here so far. We've seen a deer, we've seen bears, we've seen wolves, definitely. No rabbits. No ptarmigan so far. Moose, no sightings of moose yet. But definitely no rabbits and ptarmigan in places where you always have rabbits and ptarmigan. So that's why I think we have none. So I was thinking about what to do after this challenge, and I thought, you know what would be crazy? We should do a custom run where it's interloper, except we set wolves to max, and we turn off rabbits and deer and ptarmigan. It's just be like all predators, except for the moose. Yeah. Oh, I don't know. Maybe we'll need ptarmigan in. I don't know. We'll see. Yeah, but I'm tempted to do one where it's all predators, and it's just like there's no easy targets. Everything's bad. That might be fun. See how that plays out. we're not tired and we don't have anything to do and nothing to hunt. Do we need bandages? We could use an extra bandage. Other good news, I checked the flight itinerary my mother sent me and realized that they're flying in on, my mother and my nephews are flying in on WestJet, not Air Canada, so I don't actually have to worry about their airline situation because Air Canada is threatening a strike, which I hope they don't do it, but it will do severe havoc and mayhem to everyone's schedule, everyone's travel plans, because it's the peak of summer in Canada, and it'd be a nightmare if they strike this Wednesday or this Saturday. So I think that's the whole point, is they want to put a lot of pressure. Yeah, so far no updates. So anyways, they're keeping an eye on that. There's 100 wolves. Yeah. So yeah, so I think that would be kind of wild. All predators. And you know, the other thing that happens with that, right? If there's no deer and no rabbits and no ptarmigan, it means there's no, if no ptarmigan means there's no insulated, you can't make insulated sleeping bags or like sort of that insulation, improvised insulation to keep yourself warm. No rabbits means no rabbit hat or rabbit mitts. And then no deer means the only deer hides you'll find are carcasses. So it might still be possible to make yourself a travois or to make yourself any of the clothing, but it's going to be a whole lot harder. It's going to take you a lot longer. The travois will be easier actually, because I think it's just 1 or 2 hides. But you know, deer clothing, much more of a nightmare. So, yeah. So I wonder if we do something else to compensate for that, or we leave everything else interloper and we don't mess with it. Anyways, I think my next challenge will be that. Just be all predators. Tooth and claw is what we'll call it. Nature red tooth and claw. Okay, I don't know what else we'll do. I feel bad about wasting time here, but conserving resources might be better rather than striking a match. Okay. Wouldn't that be wild if you could also have like animals may spawn indoors? That would be terrible. Well, what I'm talking, yeah, it's basically, it's stalker, but it's interloper, right? But if you take away all the rabbits and the ptarmigan and the deer, that's something else. Then you're in a whole different territory. Yeah, if we bumped up resources, then we would be in stalker. But if we keep resources rare... Scobura! Welcome in, Raiders. Wow, 41. Hey, good to see you. Let's give a shout out to Scorpura. I'm guessing also a TLD streamer. Let's see, playing the Long Dark. Yes, indeed. Welcome in, folks. If you're new to this channel, I am Babbaginator. Everyone calls me Baba, though. Which is funny because I'm not a father, but I am a father figure to you. Yay! I don't know. Or maybe I'm Baba Yaga. Yeah, so here we are. I'm a writer. I'm also a former computer games programmer, and I have just completed my studies for a library science degree. So now I'm also a professional librarian, or at least hoping to land a position as a professional librarian. And a longtime TLD player, as well as a longtime D&D player and DM. So most of what we do is stream TLD and talk about literature and film and anime and role-playing games. Sometimes I read poetry, sometimes I read other people's works, sometimes we talk about my dissertation, which is a redeem. Why? I don't know. Some people are interested in my dissertation. I did a PhD in literature and creative writing, and I did a dissertation on 19th century artificial intelligence. And basically, how does the machine become a person in the Victorian imagination? So I talk about Sherlock Holmes, and I talk about Charles Babbage, and I talk about Frankenstein, talk about a bunch of weird stuff. So anyways, that's kind of me in a nutshell. Just your all-round nerdy, geeky guy who likes to play TLD and D&D. So hope you enjoy hanging out here. We are in the middle of a challenge. I probably should post that up right now. I like programmer throwback. I like creating random things. And so, yes, my currency is cracker boxes. It's a long-running joke. It's because I always save them for the very, very end. I refuse to eat them until we get down to the end when it just looks really dire. We are doing You Know Nothing. You Know Nothing, which is basically a custom run in which I have, I give you the link for this too. Probably should be in there as well. I have a custom settings random generator that I wrote, which you can select different difficulty settings, and it will produce a custom settings run that will be at least that level of difficulty, like between that and the next level up. So if you choose Interloper, it'll be harder than Interloper. And so we're working with something that's harder than Interloper. And so far, what we've determined is that we have a lot of wolves, high or very high wolves. We have seen bear. We have seen one or two deer. They might be a little bit scarce. We have definitely seen no rabbits and no ptarmigan. Like places where there's always rabbits and ptarmigan, zero. So we may have no rabbits and no ptarmigan on this run. We have not seen a moose. Perhaps no moose. Blizzards and wind tend to be pretty high right now, and we also have no birch bark tea. So things look a little tricky. Yeah. Okay, so Roller has put the request in for us to take a slight break from TLD and do a little reading. We are going to read from, I like to read from public domain work as well. So we're going to read from good old classic, The Maltese Falcon. We are... Let's see, we're in chapter 2 right now, I think. Okay, so let's see. Okay, so here we go. Reading glasses. So where last left off, Sam Spade has been interrupted in the middle of the night by police detectives who inform him that the person that he knows already, that the person he hired to watch a mysterious, dangerous person, as requested by, of course, a femme fatale shows up and asks for his help and says that she's being hunted, and he brings in a friend to watch over her and keep an eye on this strange, mysterious, dangerous person. And then lo and behold, his friend gets killed, and the same night, the mysterious, dangerous guy also gets killed. So the police show up and ask him some questions. Dundee withdrew, tapping fingers, but there was no change in his voice. Tom says, "You were in too much of a hurry to even stop for a look at your partner." Tom growled apologetically. "Well, damn it, Sam. You did run off like that. And you didn't go to Archer's house to tell his wife," the lieutenant said. "We called up and that girl was in your office, was there, and she said you sent her." Spade nodded. His face was stupid in its calmness. Lieutenant Dundee raised his two bent fingers over Spade's chest, quickly lowered them, and said, "I give you 10 minutes to get to a phone and do your talking to the girl. I give you 10 minutes to get to Thurby's joint, Geary near Leavenworth. You could do it easy in that time, or 15 at most, and that gives you 10 or 15 minutes of waiting before he showed up." "I knew where he lived?" Spade asked. "And I knew he hadn't gone straight home from killing Miles?" "You knew what you knew," Dundee replied stubbornly. "What time did you get home?" 20 minutes to 4. "I walked around, thinking things over." Lieutenant wagged his round head up and down. "We knew you weren't home at 3:30. We tried to get you on the phone. Where'd you do your walking?" "Out Bush Street, away and back." "Did you see anyone that?" No witnesses," Spade said, laughed pleasantly. "Sit down, Dundee. You haven't finished your drink. Get your glass, Tom." Tom said, "No thanks, Sam." Dundee sat down, but paid no attention to his glass of rum. Spade filled his own glass, drank, set the empty glass on the table, and returned to his bedside seat. "I know where I stand now," he said, looking with friendly eyes from one of the police detectives to the other. "I'm sorry I got up on my hind legs, but you birds coming in and trying to put the work on me made me nervous. Having Miles knocked off bothered me. Then you birds cracking Foxy, that's all right now. Though, now that I know what you're up to." Tom said, "Forget it." Lieutenant said nothing. Spade asked, "Thursby die?" While the lieutenant hesitated, Tom said, "Yes." Then the lieutenant said angrily, "And you might as well know it. If you don't, he died before you could tell anybody anything." Okay. Pause there. Dun dun dun. Dundee. Oh, we forgot to switch to reading mode. Oh well. So, anyways, we're back in. So where are we right now? We are at the gold mine. We are at the gold mine. We are doing something foolish. We're trying to keep well fed early in the game. This is not usually my strategy in Interloper, but we do have a fair bit of food. Okay, so we just finished another run recently. We did a challenge run which I called Matchless. Matchless is an Interloper challenge where you survive. You try to survive 50 days with no matches. You cannot use matches. You leave all matches behind. You survive entirely by starting fires with flares.
I think I can use this.
Maglins and Fire Striker if you can find one. And we're about to leave all these guys behind. That would have been embarrassing. Okay. So yeah, you survived. So we survived 50 days. We made it. It took us 11 tries to do it, but we made it 11 days, or 50 days, no matches, and we finished by climbing up to, we went to the gold mine, we went to the summit, we went all over the place, and we finished in Pleasant Valley at the bunker. But yeah, that was good times. We even finished that run having to dodge a cougar my first close encounter with the cougar. And the cougar was waiting at the bottom of the gold mine rope. And we did this crazy thing where we climbed really high on the side of the hill. And we just skirted the edge. Stayed really high. And we didn't trigger the cougar attack. I mean, he was growling like crazy. And I think we were definitely on the radar. But he didn't charge us. I think because there was no path to us. And we also dodged a wolf the same way. Remember, no matches. And we were out of matches at that point. We're just Maglans only. So, that was fun times. I play mostly interloper. My longest interloper run was 303 days. 303 days, and that was for a challenge called Roll With It, which I can probably put in there too. That's probably my most famous like custom challenge that I've done. It's an interloper run, but you have to leave. You have your the best way to explain it is just to post the challenge here. So there's a whole explanation on the Google Doc about how to do it, but basically it involves rolling dice every time you arrive in a new region. So the moment you enter the region, you have to roll a die, and it tells you how many days you have to stay. You cannot leave early. You cannot leave late. You have to be out by midnight of that day. And that day is determined by when when you go to your log here, or not the log, when you go to your stats here, it says days survived. Once it turns over, let's say you roll a d10 and you get a 10, stay there for 10 days. Once it turns to 10, you have until midnight to get out. And that number turns over based on when you spawned in. So if you start the run at like 10 p.m., then that's a terrible start because you will always only have just a couple hours to get out, which is not good. Okay, let's try this. Okay. I forgot to check and see if there was a cougar here. No. I'm not hearing the cougar. Oh, it's early enough. It's early enough that we shouldn't have to worry about the cougar. That's good news. We got food here for us. We'll take those. But yeah, roll with it. Anyone's welcome to give that a try. It's a real fun, if frustrating, challenge. It took us, I think it was 30 attempts to do it. And sometimes I would lose right on the last region. It was so frustrating. Especially if your last region is Black Rock. It's like, because you have to visit every single region in the entire game. So, go to all the regions. It was fun. The last run, they introduced zone of contamination, and so I had to do zone of contamination cold. Like, I had no information about it, really. I'd never played in it before. I had scanned through one map, but I wasn't referencing it when I was playing it. I just had done it to have a general sense of the layout. But I did most of it cold, just have no idea what I was doing. That was a lot of fun. We rolled a 20. At that stage in the game, we were at up to 20 days in each major region, or up to I don't hear a moose. So I don't think there's a moose here. No. So we did 20 days in Forsaken Airfield, followed by 20 days in Zone of Contamination without knowing what in the world we were doing in Zone of Contamination. We only survived because I got extremely lucky and I killed a bear shortly after it arrived. And we were able to live off of bear meat. Because I had cooking 5 by that point. But that was kind of wild. I think we're short one. That's why we're picking it. Yeah, Zone of Contamination is an interesting region. You know, I've yet to go back and really do a deep exploration of it.
I wonder if I can drop any of this gear.
The answer is no. We need everything. Every last twig, Astrid. Every last twig. Oh, we're picking up all this birch bark, but I just realized we can't make birch bark tea. All this birch bark, I say, and then I realize we only picked up 2. Feels like we picked up more. Oh well. Yeah, so it's only good for kindling. We can't actually use it to make tea. Kind of sucks. What do we do if we get seriously injured or... get sick or have to travel in a blizzard and don't have our birch bark tea to save us. Okay, so I guess we really don't need to worry about picking up more. No, it'll save us time. Yeah, one of my early attempts to get through roll with it, I arrived at Blackrock at my last region, and then I proceeded to roll a 17, and I was like, oh no, this is not going to go well. And the sad thing is I didn't even make it through the first night, or the first 24 hours. I got killed by... I entered the region, it was late, a blizzard kicked in. Yeah, blizzard started up after I'd already triggered wolves, and they jumped me with no ability to stop them. I couldn't, I got trapped without a torch, without a working torch, without a means to scare off the timber wolves. I just got ripped apart and died. Yeah, it made me a little gun-shy about going back there, but I finished it when the 30th attempt, I finally finished it, and I finished it in Blackrock. And I think it was 10 days or 12 days there, but we made it work. Yep, there goes that. Oops. take that wolf snuck
Not sure I
away.
can carry much more.
Okay. Okay, let's move in a little bit. Make a few more. There we go. We'll just do about 2 liters here. See, we have more matches. Why are we worried? We're not worried. We got plenty. Okay, take advantage of these guys.
Man, this pack is getting kind of heavy.
So there's a trick with pulling better torches. You look at the fire here, and you see these 2 logs that run right next to each other like this. There's a point where the 2 logs meet, and you put your pixel right there. Oops, missed it. Let's do it a little bit closer here. But look for that white spot in there, right? You can pull out a better torch. Oops. Oh. Effectively, what you're doing is you're choosing the hottest point in the fire, and that's where you're pulling the torch from. I can't remember which way I want here.
I could eat anything.
Score. Pork and beans, coffee, backpack, more coal. Oh yeah. I don't know. What do people find as their favorite region? Or do you have a favorite place to base? Like, I'll tell you my favorite place to base before they introduce like base building mechanics. I really enjoy building a base on the Riken, on the ship in Desolation Point. Why? Because there's a place where you can put the fire on the deck and it will survive like 95% of the time. Even in the middle of a blizzard, it will survive. So you can actually sleep on the deck in a blizzard. It's totally wild. I love that. I mean, you could also build a fire in like sort of the, on the helm in the, but I think we missed our turn. I think we're going backwards now. Yeah, that's the way we came in, right? It is the way we came in. Maybe? Guess we should double check. Yeah, if we see our fire, then we'll know we were here. We don't see our fire. Yeah, see, we were here. So, yeah, we did a full circle. We turned ourselves around.
I need to find a place to rest.
Seriously, it's too early for that Astrid. Way too early. Okay, so we know we go here. I think it's this way. I think we go right. Last time we went left. Yeah. So yeah, we keep this stream pretty chill. At the end of the stream, I usually read 1 or 2 poems. Oh well, we don't need it. We could grab it. It's just... we've got lots of fuel on us right now.
I could eat anything right now.
And then, if I remember correctly, this is the way out. Yeah. Okay, we're determined to keep well fed here. I'll just make climbing around on the mountain a lot easier. So why are we so tired? Too much climbing, I guess? Oh, running from the wolf.
Any of this gear.
Okay. Well, I think we just go over to the cave. have to remember, since just last week we were here on a different run, but we had a bow and arrow. This time we got nothing. This time we just got the hacksaw. Don't even have a hammer. Oh, went out. Unlucky us. So we got deer. There's definitely deer. I'm camping here tonight. It'd be good to get fire starting 2. We're still at like the first one. Everything is crappy. You know, we have so much coal. Might as well just play it safe. Yeah, we can make porridge too. Oatmeal. Okay.
I'm gonna need to eat soon. Just need to...
So yeah, so this run is basically, it's interloper with unknowns. When we get to day 50, we'll wrap this one up. And I was telling Roller earlier that we're going to do, I think the next challenge is going to be a custom interloper run in which we turn off rabbits, deer, and ptarmigan. We up wolves to stalker or beyond, so like max out wolves. I haven't decided if I want to leave timberwolves in. I might. Might be awful. We might max out timberwolves and max out bears. Or maybe leave bears rare, but they're in the world. Because bears are a lot of food, right? So basically, I think we should leave bears and deer at their default settings for, or bears and moose at the default settings for interloper, and just max out wolves. So it's like bad as stalker, and then make them super aggressive and super like detective, like they should have max detection range. They're always hunting you. Yeah. And then we'll just have to deal with predators all the time. I think that will be kind of the fun one. I don't know if people agree that that is fun, but sometimes. Cooking at least is leveled up. Okay, so this is now basically out. Okay, we're good. Okay. Well, I just realized we should be using our time a little bit more effectively. Not that it's going to make a huge difference, but we could be reading books. Although I don't think we have that many left. We just have the angling book. Not really great. Okay, well, we're not missing out on much. Okay, so let's grab an extra water. Grab a few torches. Yeah, crappy one. That's a beer out there. Does this feel like it turns into a storm, or does it feel like this is a safe time to go? Feels like it's still cold. We'll read a book. Not that I'm probably ever going to get to ice fish, but... Okay, off we go. Look, there's more of these guys. So we can take one. It stayed like this. Snowy, foggy, not super cold. Oh, we forgot to put our stuff down to cure. That was a mistake. Oh well. There's a wolf over there. Container over here. We try our luck with the container. I think we're kind of doomed on containers on the whole. One thing we kind of realize is that containers are almost always empty on this run. I mean, interloper, that's usually the case, but feels it's especially bad this time.
Come on, little fire. Oh, yeah. That's a good one.
Okay, we'll throw a coal in there and fill it. Okay.
I think I can use this.
No, we definitely could use food. Okay, we'll keep on marching. So I'm trying to think what else I can tell you. Today was really, really warm. Like, yesterday and today were super warm. I'm in Vancouver, BC,
I'm not sure I
and
can carry much more.
normally I think it's a little bit warm in the summer, but it's usually not that bad. But it was really hot out. Today wasn't too bad though. There was a big wind, so even though it was really hot, it didn't feel too bad. But I was definitely 2 days in a row in shorts mode, you know. I'm so not a shorts person that I actually only have, you know, other than like, you know, the kind of pajama shorts that I sleep in, and a couple athletic shorts that I think I bought thinking one day I'll go to a gym, and then never did. I only have one pair of like kind of more casual dressy shorts. Anyways, shorts that I feel comfortable wearing outside. That doesn't make it feel like I'm off to play basketball or to embarrass myself somewhere else. Yeah. So, like, there's a limit to the number of days in a row that I can wear them. For, like, it's funny, frustrating funny, that, I bought them a few weeks back, and I have not been able to find another pair that I like. Yeah, I find, like, what's out there right now tends to either be a little on the, it feels like it's too short for me. I'm, like, not really looking to wear short shorts. Or they're just, like, the pattern is unflattering, or the cut is unflattering. Like, it gets all bunchy, or it looks weird, doesn't drape very well. Uh-oh. Okay, so what we can do here, hopefully this works. So there is something that we did last time that worked pretty well.
Come on, little fire. Come on. Perfect.
Okay. Keep on moving, buddy. Here he comes. Gotta boop him on the nose. There we go. And I really wish he would have gone a different direction. Because that's where we want to go. But,
Come on, little fire.
okay, we cannot afford to make mistakes like that. Come on, Astrid. Really? Okay. Sorry, buddy, but we really need a fire.
Come on, little fire. Wait, that didn't work.
No, hopefully he just leaves.
Come on, little fire.
But I think he's going to turn around and come back. Alright, here we go. Great. Where'd Mr. Bear go? wait to see if he comes back? Okay. Just stick with the healthy ones. Okay, let's see. Where did he go? There's his tracks. Well, it'd be nice to get a snack, but we're not going to get that. Okay. Play dodge the bear. Mission accomplished. Drink our coffee. Load up on camping. And up we go. We have our crampons on. So this should be an easy task here. Coffee and crampons. Goodbye, Mr. Bear. We're off. Okay, so we snuck away. No bear encounter. I mean, we had an encounter, we just managed to avoid him. Which one do we want to check out? I don't think we really need to search this place entirely. Just want to grab anything useful that we happen to pass by, but we just want to get out. day. We're still doing well.
Hope nobody needs this anymore.
It'd be funny if the bear was waiting for us on the other side and said, "Hey, buddy, I took the elevator." Like, okay. Took you so long. Took the elevator. Oftentimes, this is my little nook where I sleep the night before I head out. But we still got a lot of time left in the day, so we're gonna try our best to push on. We just have one more climb. One more rope. So something cool that happened on Sunday night. Sunday night, I have been running a Sunday night D&D game for a group of friends, and then recently we kind of wrapped up one campaign, then decided that we would rotate DMing responsibilities. Someone else wanted to give it a try, and so that person DM'd like a short adventure, which is wrapping up in our next session, and or at least it's supposed to wrap up in the next session, but has really quite fallen in love with DMing. This is the first time she's DM'd, and she did a really fantastic job, and she's very well prepared, very good at sort of both the delivery, the narrative side of it, as well as just making things fun and interesting. So yeah, she's very much taken by it and wants to keep going. So I'm like, perfect. I get to be a player for a while. Which is nice. You know, the last few weeks in my Wednesday night game, we've been kind of taking turns at doing little short one-shots, and so that's been fun. But this fall, like come September, we'll start a new campaign, which I'm still thinking about what we want to do. I'm going to probably pitch a few different ideas.
Come on.
Like, part of me is like fine with like recycling some other campaign ideas I've done before. Part of me is thinking about like something new. So one of the ones that I did last time, like a while ago, and it was a lot of fun, was a lot more work initially for me. And there are definitely things I would probably do differently, which gives me a chance to run the campaign differently. But I did an isekai campaign where basically, so isekai is a genre of anime and manga where people from our world find themselves transported into a fantasy world in which often they gain the benefits of some sort of game-like status screen, and maybe they get level ups and skill bonuses or things like that, or they transfer over with the stats that their game character had in the game they were playing, or they show up as a character in a game or a romance game or a novel that they are familiar with. And so they kind of have cheat-like ability to kind of survive the game. anyways, this idea of like playing yourself, but in a fantasy world, is kind of entertaining. And so I did that last time. I like had a survey that I had everyone questionnaire that people filled out, and then based on their results, I then crafted for them a character that did my best to represent, reflect who they were as a person, like, but in D&D terms. And so, anyways, it was kind of silly and fun. And very meta, because if you are a bunch of D&D players... yeah, exactly, there's no fourth world. Because if you are a bunch of D&D players who were then transported into another world, guess what? You are very self-aware, and you are also aware of all the mechanics of the game and the game world. But then what I, of course, have to do is then break that by having the game not necessarily, the world doesn't necessarily behave exactly as the rules that you understand from 5th edition. Not the rules, the flavor of the world that you might know. So you like, hey, traditional fantasy D&D works like this, or I'm expecting the characters, the classes, or the species, you know, the communities to behave in a particular way, and maybe they work differently. Or what's really messed up is that actually the fantasy world has had numerous encounters with people from our world who have brought over not just knowledge, but philosophies and political systems and technologies that aren't good, that are really bad. And so someone has introduced, like, say, for instance, multi-level marketing. And someone else has introduced, has really, like, brought in, like, apartheid or something like that. It's, like, it's really messed up. And as the campaign unfolds, the players start to realize that all the bad things happening in this world are the result of people bringing stuff from their world, from our world, into the fantasy world. Yeah. Fantasy world has its own problems, but they're actually made worse by contact with our world. So anyways, that's kind of fun. And the big bad, of course, is someone who came over like 10 or 15 years earlier. And in the previous campaign, that person turned out to be a necromancer. And so I don't know if I'll replicate that sort of storyline again, or if I'll tweak it in some way. But anyways, it is kind of fun to play yourself, especially, yeah. And have items that you, like, survive the trip over that behave in a magical way. Yeah. So anyways, that was kind of fun. But the other one is kind of a TLD-inspired thing. Well, not exactly. It's set in the north. And I have two options. I could either leverage Rime of the... What's it? Was it Rime of the Frost Maiden? Is that what it is? I always forget what it is. But anyways, there is an existing... No, we are too heavy right now. What do we need to drop? Okay. So Rime of the Frost Maiden, which is a bunch of linked adventures set in it's Forgotten Realms, but it's north. And so that one has a lot of stuff that's related to cold. I have looked into it. I actually own it. I've even played a little bit in it. But you know, the thing that I realize, I don't like being in someone else's IP. I don't like being in someone else's world. I like the freedom to change things up a little bit more and not. I think specifically, it's not that I can't change up stuff that happens in Forgotten Realms or do things differently. It's just that people are aware. There are people who are huge fans of the lore and of the setting that then make it difficult to do anything. Oh, we're too encumbered to climb. Of course we are. But yeah, so there's that. So I actually am leaning instead towards. I did a campaign called The Frozen Chosen, I think it was. And come on, we can do this. We can do this.
So tired, I could lay down right here.
Yeah. Okay. The Frozen Chosen is set in the northern, like a northern area in my own, like, homebrew setting. And you start off in a small fishing village, and the village elder assembles a group of you and tells you that the wise woman of the village has received a vision informing him that you are the chosen. The last several months, there have been reports of strange lights in the skies out in the barrens, and things falling, bright stars falling to the earth, and strange creatures appearing in the wilds, in the barrens, hunting the hunters. And so he says, the village wise woman has received a vision saying that you have been chosen to go out and deal with this. And then, quite unceremoniously, he shoves you outside. Now, very quickly, and he also says, like, it's because of the tattoos that are found on the back of your heads, which you can't see. You actually don't have any tattoos. The village elder has selected a group of misfits and ne'er-do-wells and otherwise people that the townsfolk have gotten sick and tired of and have decided to send out on a pointless quest to get rid of you. So you are just on a fool's errand outside of the settlement. So you could choose to go and actually, maybe it doesn't dawn on you immediately that this is the issue, so you might set off, or you may, like, have some successful insight checks and perception checks and realize that clearly they're basically getting rid of you. So what do you do? So yeah. So if you do choose to go out into the barrens to find out what's going on, maybe you are indeed the chosen ones after all. And what happens is you start encountering strange creatures with these embedded gems in their foreheads that glow at night, and other creatures that you've never seen before, like really bizarre creatures. So as you go along, you also encounter, find the remains of ruined civilizations and evidence of excavations, mysterious excavations going on. And then eventually you find what turns out to be a crashed spaceship. Or not a crashed spaceship, but a spaceship that's on the ground, or at least an alien vessel that's on the ground. Complete with aliens. And the creatures are from the far realms who have traveled over here. Ooh, what are you doing, buddy? What are you doing, buddy? Go away. So, and then if you defeat the ones that are on the ground at their shuttle, at their vessel, you then discover that they do have they have set up a portal to allow them to teleport from their vessel to a mothership that is orbiting the planet. And it's depending on how smart your characters are, you may not fully understand what you've got yourself into.
Well, this stuff will come in handy.
That's kind of a crappy fire striker. We got flare shells, new gun. Okay, let's start over here. So anyways, that one's kind of fun. It ended up with a huge battle on the spaceship, and then there is a malfunction at the end of that combat, and they ended up teleporting to another realm altogether, which would have been the start of a whole nother campaign, but we actually didn't get a chance to follow that one up.
Dusk, so night can't be far behind.
Of course, there's Aurora. That's not good. Hope the wolf doesn't come back here. It'd be a shame if we died because we were attacked by a wolf up here on the summit.
This will come in handy.
So anyways, yeah, the Frozen North one doesn't necessarily have to end up with the aliens, but that was one ending that we ended up with. I may go a different route. I like the setting. I like the setup of them not actually being chosen. And it may not be obvious to them right away that they're not chosen, so... Other campaigns I ran something called Bards on the Run, or Band on the Run. Band on the Run It was basically everyone had to be bards. They started at 4th level. They had to have at least one level of bard, and and they were in a band that had been framed for murder, and so they had to do their best to figure out who was behind it. And then, nah, we don't want that. Try to clear their name. But instead, that campaign ended with
I'll take it.
it was funny because it ended with them framing an NPC bard that they really despised. And so they framed the NPC bard, and they also simultaneously started a civil war in the city, which is overdue. There was so much corruption. You know, bound to happen. Yeah, there's a bard in that city, or actually in the campaign, a high-level NPC bard by the name of Randolfo the Magnificent. Or as he's always introduced, Randolfo the Magnificent. And then every time someone else, like a bard in the party, in the player's party, performs somewhere, the tavern keeper or the audience will say, "That was fantastic. It was almost as good as Randolfo. You could be a second Randolfo." And they keep comparing the bard to Randolfo. And very quickly they get very annoyed by the fact that they're always playing, literally or figuratively, second fiddle to Randolfo. And then finally, usually, someone snaps and they decide they're going to make Randolfo the scapegoat for this whole thing. Pass the buck on to them. But yeah, that's kind of fun. Oh, high wind and aurora? Wow, that's a nasty combo.
Nobody needs this anymore.
Oh, that didn't last. Oh, I keep forgetting we have all these cans here too. Okay, let's get our sleep on. So yeah, Bards on the Run or Bad on the Run. The Frozen Chosen, or I can't remember what I called the Gi-OBYC campaign. It might have just been called the Gi-OBYC campaign, or it could have been Not in Kansas Anymore, or something like that. Good for 10. Do not eat me while I am asleep. Okay. We're gonna use these guys up while we can. Lighten our load. Okay. Let's see, still. Oh, we fail a lot. Okay. Okay, let's see, what do we have that we can shred? Oh, yeah, so, I don't know, thinking about some other ideas still, and, but yeah, that campaign starts in September. Sounds like we're going to switch back to Friday nights, so that's going to work for me. I think it'll give my Wednesday back to me. Wednesday night I could either run another campaign, or I could do something else. Weather's been very mild here.
I think I can use this.
So I'm still entertaining the idea of hanging out my shingle on start playing and running one or two D&D games a week. Seeing how that goes.
The sun is setting. It's gonna get a lot colder soon.
I think I've done as much as we can. Yeah, or I could write a brand new adventure, which I am fine with. Which can be a lot of fun, like a new concept. I mean, there's definitely been like ideas that I experimented with and did not like how they played out. Less successful campaigns I ran include I did one called Small Time Crooks, and I think I liked how it was going to potentially work in terms of roleplay, but the plot was too weak. I didn't have... Yeah, I just didn't think it through well enough, and so... And I don't think the party ever, like... The players ever found their footing. Whereas I feel like the Things That Go Bump the Night adventure that I've run many, many, many times, which basically has everyone play as elderly retired adventurers who have forgotten everything, but still love to talk smack to each other and complain about all the problems that come with old age. In the one shot, what happens is that there's mysterious noises in the basement, and food starts disappearing from the pantry, and staff and residents also are disappearing over the last couple weeks. And then finally, there's like big noises at night, and you wake up and you have to go and explore, and it's actually a pretty cool setup. And I had at least one group want their characters to continue past that point. So after that mini adventure wraps up, we ran a second campaign where they just kind of deal with some troubles in the as they're exiting from that place. They come across, a weird pseudo necromancer who's been, experimenting with were-rats and werewolves, and creating sort of undead abominations, And that was kind of fun.
I would drink just about anything right now.
See, I'd be all for that. I think that's great. Murder mysteries and D&D can be a little tricky to get going. I feel like the skills and magic can really undermine some of the intrigue and fun. But yeah, I would try that. There's also like a number, like in the world building, I have like this, the homebrew setting I have has like, I've built it out to a certain degree for several campaigns, and then I had this idea to do a more northern campaign that was leveraging some of the stuff from Rime of the Frost Maiden, and so I ended up rewriting some sections of my homebrew world, and now the two versions of the world don't exactly align. So I've been thinking about doing some sort of you know, reconciliation where I kind of bring the two versions of the world, like rewrite the world, do a new draft of the whole world, and integrate the different parts in a better way. Yeah, so we'll see. But there are like definitely adventure threads and hooks that I planted early on in some of the world building that I've never picked up on, which might be fun to play with. Oh, why are we stuck in this? Is it over? We finish? How are we doing? We're doing light. We're great. How are we doing with torches? Pick up a couple of torches. The World Keeper planned it out so that each crew member was sleeping with someone else that hated someone else. Yeah, I think having like a network of relationships or a web of relationships is kind of key to making for an interesting roleplay experience with the party. You know, the fundamental question is why? Why did your character leave whatever comfort, whatever starting point they had to go on the road to be an adventurer? What is pushing them out of the house? And then, you know, then the follow-up to that is why are they willing to travel with other people? Why are they willing to work with other people? Because
nobody needs this anymore.
Then we got two of them. Wild. Okay, so how heavy are we right now? We're at 40. We will solve this ourselves just by our travel and ditching. Okay, so last time I did this all wrong, and I ended up taking. Oops. I ended up going a really bad way out. So we're going to try to avoid making a real mess of things. Although this is... I feel like there are like conventional goading strategies here. And then there's whatever I'm doing. It's like... Okay. Okay, so last time we cut over too early. This time we're going to remember to go down further and then come over. Yeah. So anyways, I'll survey my group on Wednesday, tomorrow night, and see what kind of campaign they're interested in. I'll pitch them a few different ideas and see what's a winner for them. Okay. Awkward place to have to recharge our torch, but yeah, let's see. So yeah, last time I came over high. I think I want to come over a little bit lower. Like underneath this guy. Could be wrong, but I think this is where we're supposed to cut. How does this look? Yeah, this looks good. Question is, do we cut over here? I feel like we could cut over here. Yeah, see? Much more reasonable. We cut way up there and it was like such a pain. No, we're still pretty high. We could have come even lower. Yeah, so... No, we're still too high. Oh well. It is what it is. Okay, so this strategy would be to say, instead of cutting all the way over there, just come down over here. Okay, let's see how far off we are right now. Yeah, we're not in the right spot yet. So, many years ago I played in a campaign where it was an all-evil campaign. And what we did is we randomly chose which of the 7 deadly sins our characters would represent. And we didn't tell each other which one we got. And so that was kind of fun. But as all evil campaigns tend to go, we completely imploded at some point. We broke into factions and yeah, it was not a great ending. It was messy, very messy. Yeah. What are you guys doing up here? Who said you should be here? Go away, go away, go away. Go away, go away, go away. Well, we're at it here. I'm gonna load this. There we are. We're really close. So this worked out okay. Well, other than perhaps we have chosen poorly. Okay, we made it to the bottom. Huzzah! Okay, so let's see. we're going to make it a Mountaineers. I think that's a good place for us to stop for the night. We will read 1 or 2 poems. Let's see what we're in the mood for. And then we will raid someone else. We will share the love. Send our happy party on to another great TLD streamer. Yeah. Once again, Scarborough and Company, thank you for your raid. Much, much appreciated. If you do like the super chill vibes of this stream, feel free to come back, give me a follow. If you, look at us.
I wonder if I can drop any of this gear.
Stuff. Yeah. Yeah, I guess it's a little bit early. I don't have to throw that one away. Yeah, and I'm usually on every Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday. Occasionally there's a bonus stream. I also, come September, I'm not certain yet, but I may have a little bit more time in my schedule, and I might throw in a few daytime streams. If I do, those might be for a different challenge or a different run. Just so that those of you who follow in this time slot don't feel like you're missing out. And you can stay on top of this one, and I will run a second one. The second one, maybe we will for the second one do the All Predators. I want to call it either Tooth and Claw or Mutual of Great Bear. No, like Wild Kingdom. Or we'll find some other cheesy way to do it. You watch one campaign, 4 evil, 1 good adventure. Okay, so I think we already looted all this stuff here. There's a bear way out there. We have no means of doing with that, so let us come back in. Oh, we have enough time we could even get to grab our stuff and we can go back down to... Oh, we got plenty here. We don't need all this. Fuel. We don't need the can opener. We do need the pry bar, lantern, whetstones. We'll take the coal.
I'm not going to be able to carry this load for much longer.
Sewing kit. Okay. Okay, I think we could probably make a run. Maybe we should do it. Okay. Or not. It's now too windy. The decision has been made. We are going to finish here then. I don't think we'll spend the night here, but we will start a fire here, and we'll at least save with the sleep. But yeah, anyways.
Come on, little fire.
Oh, let's figure out what we're going to read tonight.
Perfect.
need the extra water? Nope. Do we want extra food? Yes. Okay. Okay, so this is where we're going to end tonight. Storm is still raging. We are on day 12. Let's do our updates here. Okay, we are on to day 12. We found our first crackers. We have not been able to kill anything yet. It's looking suspiciously like we're going to stay here.
This pack is getting too heavy to carry.
We are not likely to return here, so let's just throw our stuff on here. Okay. And this is where we save. Okay, full of blizzards. There we are. Okay, so let's read a poem to wrap up here. One or two. We haven't decided, but we will try our poem chooser. Oh, haven't read that in a while. Okay, so we're going to read a poem from my first book of poetry, The Lost Country of Sight, which was the winner of the Philip Levine Prize for Poetry in 2007, published by Anhinga Press. Yeah, so this poem is entitled First Poem. It is not the first poem in the collection, nor is it the first poem I've ever written. It is actually the poem about the first poem that I ever wrote. First poem. I cannot remember what I wrote, except that predictably it was for a girl, dark-haired or blonde. The time-dim details escape me, even her name. But I'm certain it was fall when we dug out our winter coats from the dark memories of closets, ready by the door for a brighter world that bit sharply at our cheeks. And I think that her skin grew whiter every day, at least it seems so now. Her eyes were still and distant, two strangers who had packed their bags all night, and now stood wordless at a window, the gravel shore below, waves rolling in, one after another. And when she was gone into the earth, and the teacher came to speak of blood and bones and death and how to grieve and how to live, I left no flowers on her empty seat, carried no cards, went home instead, and wrote some lines and her name to hide in a box beneath my bed, now lost somewhere beyond recall. So a little behind the poem here. So this kind of goes back to when I was in 4th or 5th grade, and there was a girl that I had a crush on in the class. As you're about that age, you tend to have crushes on people. I don't know. Turns out that having crushes on people is actually not very common for me to begin with. But in this case, there was someone that I thought was very cool and interesting, and I was very shy, and I said nothing, and I did nothing, and kind of admired from afar. And what I did notice is that she came to class more and more infrequently. And no one really told us what was going on. We just heard that she was ill a lot, or that she was sick a lot. And then one day the teacher shows up and says she's not coming back to the class, and then explained to us that she had had a rare form of leukemia and that a bone marrow cancer as well, and that she had not survived the treatment. And I remember as a young kid, not knowing how to process all the emotions that I felt, like the unarticulated, unexpressed emotion of liking someone, of that person being forever beyond your reach, like no way to communicate them, of feeling that loss of another human being and a life suddenly cut off, and that sense of mortality. And I think when you're young, you're usually not thinking about mortality. And here I was thinking about like that these lives can suddenly and abruptly end. And, there's something very fragile about this existence. So I was a writer already. I liked writing like little stories and bits and pieces of things. I also liked drawing, so I did art as well. But I just didn't know what to do with this set of emotions and this experience. And so I found myself writing. But the writing turned into something that was something more like a poem. And I think in that moment, I started to understand that this is why we write poetry, is that frequently it's because we need some way to express something that feels beyond expression. And so there is something, years later, I was reading, a very critical, literary critical text called Toy Medium. And it's it had a chapter on what the author, the critic was talking about as lyric automaton, which is basically saying that like there is a kinship between poetry, magical spells, and computer programming code, in the sense, and recipes, in the sense that they express a set of directions or instructions, or like there is something, the text itself somehow transforms into the thing it's trying to capture. It like calls into existence something that wasn't there before. A recipe is more than the words on the page. It is also the thing that it produces if you follow it. Code is more than just text, instructions, but when compiled and executed, turns into this whole thing. Magical spells and incantations, the heart of that is to create something out of mere language. And so poetry is about the conjuring up of this emotional reality, this memory, this experience, and giving it a life that is larger than just the text itself on the page. And so that's, I think, what I understood. Like I had that experience, and I didn't understand sort of all the critical apparatus around it. I just understood on an intuitive level that this was a way of preserving a memory, of keeping someone or something close to me, even if I could no longer encounter them in the same way again. And then a lot of the book, this book, revolves around that tension between memory and forgetting and loss, and our efforts to reclaim things from being forever lost to us, that we wrestle with these things. So yeah. Anyways, that's kind of a little bit of a downer, but it is a poem. Let's see if we can give you, maybe we'll do one more poem. We might pull from our archive. There's like, I have a whole bunch of these really old poems of mine that are always border on embarrassing, but some of them feel very much in the TLD world. So maybe we'll look and see if I can find one of those to to throw in here as well. I don't know, or maybe we'll save that for next time. Oh, this is a good companion piece. This is pretty old. This is, I would say, freshman year of college, right? And so it has kind of that air, some qualities of like high school poetry, kind of angsty, kind of dark, kind of full of like howling winds and wolves and stuff like that. So this is Juvenilia. This is way back when, but we'll throw it in for fun. And one emerges whole, my arm reaching through the sky, dark, wraith-like in the night, a raven rising on the wind to kiss the face of the autumn moon, to touch a star alone above. Perhaps your hand flies tonight, stretching out to touch that star, between two worlds of light and dark, an elusive swan, a raven soul, two spirits join where shadows part, and one emerges whole. There we go. Oh, angsty high school poetry. There we go. So anyways, it's on we go to find ourselves a new TLD friend to follow. So we are going to hold still. We will find ourselves someone to raid. And looks like we got games and cookies as an option. And what? Well, it's pretty slim pickings tonight. Okay. But we will do that. Games and Cookies is trying out Pill Popping Pilgrim, which is one of the popular challenges right now. So we will hop over and support. I don't know why their stream is taking so long to load, though. Okay. Oh, it was trying to load an ad. That's why. Okay. Or the video buffering issues. Okay. Okay, so anyways, let us get this raid going. We'll be back again Thursday night. Okay, see you guys Thursday night. Come back and hang out. Give me a like if you want, or a follow, or whatever we call it on Twitch. I'll be back again. If you want to read more poetry, you can always find me online on my author site. If you are looking for a writing coach, I do that work. That is something that I really love doing. I love working with people who are at any stage of their writing journey. You can also reach out and ask me about that. So, okay, so we're going to head over Games and Cookies, another TLD streamer, trying a different challenge. We will see you there. I'll hang out for a little bit, and then I'm going to get some sleep.